So I remember we've known each other a long time for those watching this, a long time. And I remember when Steve Prohm got hired at Iowa State, you were in the mix for that job. You had obviously been an assistant under Mac and Fred for a while. You knew the lay of the land well. You were recruiting at a high level, although I don't want to give George Niang any props, but you were the point man on the George Niang recruitment at up here at Tilton. So you don't get the job then. And I think you were, I don't know if hurt is the right word, but disappointed that you were hoping to get that job at that point. You go to South Dakota State, you go to UNLV, now you take it over. And I've said to everybody, I think this is the perfect job for you. But I guess going through all that, TJ, how much did you learn and how much more ready are you now than if you had gotten the job back then?
Well, you learn so much through all those experiences, right? And I've worked for 4 really good head coaches that have all had a lot of success, from Greg McDermott, Fred Hoiberg, Lorenzo Romar, and Steve Prohm, and been fortunate that as an assistant, those guys all empowered me and gave me responsibility to learn through mistakes, whether it's game planning, breaking down film, scouting report, recruiting, you name it, scheduling. And so when the job was available back, 6 years plus ago, I certainly wanted an opportunity because I felt like I knew Iowa State. I had recruited a lot of guys that had come here over time. Just felt like I knew what it meant to be the coach at Iowa State, both through success and through some failures and challenges. And so when it didn't happen, certainly disappointed because you just feel like, man, that was the opportunity of a lifetime. And you don't know if it's ever going to come again. Now, I was fortunate to be retained on staff with Steve Prohm, and so I stayed for the year. And then you just never know when things are going to happen that can change, because I didn't know anything about South Dakota State when that opportunity presented itself. There were some relationships in between, and the athletic director there, Justin Sell, who's a really good friend of mine now still, had heard good things, and we got together, and it was just a fit. And so you go through that opportunity as a head coach. You go through the opportunity as a head coach at UNLV, and through those 5 seasons, there's some good, there's some challenges, there's some big games, there's some games that you're grinding out. And so you go through all those opportunities, you learn more about yourself, you become a better coach, you learn how to manage and coach people better, put a staff together better. You learn what things work for you basketball wise. What can you teach? What's your personality? How do you bring the best out of players? And so to answer your question directly, I'm much more prepared now having those additional experiences as a head coach. It doesn't mean we wouldn't have been able to be successful before, but I know now that with confidence and conviction, based on those opportunities, exactly what we need to do here. And how fortunate am I to do it at a place where I've spent all those years as an assistant. I know it so well. And just the people, the administration, the fans, the former players, it's my spot. It's home for my family.
So you went to transfer portal and you did a really good job of it. I don't think you even probably realized, because again, the transfer portal is a little bit of a crapshoot. Let's be honest. Like, you can do all your due diligence, but especially for you, you probably hadn't recruited a lot of these guys, maybe at UNLV, or some of them probably at South Dakota State. You're probably there when these kids decided where they were going to go, whether it was Brockington or Kausher or Anaruna, or, but, the combination of those guys and a talented freshman, and Tyrese Hunter is just that. I mean, he's super talented, committed to Prohm. You ended up keeping him. He's a Wisconsin kid. How has this group been able to kind of mesh together? And is it the perfect kind of way to do it? A bunch of older dudes and then one really talented freshman.
Well, for us, the first thing we did is we went through the current roster, talked to the guys about the work habits and what it would take, and tried to figure out who do we have to move forward with to start. Who are those guys that are pieces to the puzzle moving forward based on maturity, work ethic, toughness, want to have that pride for Iowa State to be successful. Because if you had been here It wasn't the experience you'd hope for. Hilton Coliseum, we didn't have fans, so you didn't get that experience. And so we wanted to identify those guys. As we went to the transfer portal, our top priorities were maturity, self-awareness, and work ethic. And as we started to go through and evaluate guys, we were fortunate that our staff had relationships with some of the guys we recruited. There was some that I had a relationship with, like even a Caleb Grill who had started 5 years ago when I recruited him at South Dakota State. But as we identified what guys could be a fit for us, rather than look at position, talent, we really stayed with the theme of, are these guys mature? Do they have the work ethic? Are they the guys that when we talk to them, they're coming and going from the gym, getting workouts, weight room. They know that it takes more. Are they the guys that have a chip on their shoulder? Guys like Kelsher and Brockington, who were at programs, good programs, but they weren't the guys at the top of the scouting report. They were part of the puzzle. They weren't the guys. And they had this hunger and this passion of, we want to be the guys. Like, we want to be elevated. We want to be the guy that the wins and losses fall on our shoulder. And we know how to work every day to do that. And those guys have been terrific as everyday guys. They've helped set the tone. But guys like Enaruna or Kuntz or Robert Jones, Caleb Grill, all those guys, it was those same attributes that we felt like, are they mature? Are they self-aware? Are they going to work? Because we felt like more than trying to put the most talented roster together individually, we had to put the group together that would work together the best collectively. And we were fortunate that whether it's a George Condit who was here or Trey Jackson who was here, who have given us great leadership, been great teammates, or the Kelshers and the Brockingtons when they've come in, everybody is invested in that work and started doing that right away. So whether it's, a good way to do it or not, it was the way to do it for us. And then you mentioned Tyrese Hunter. There couldn't be a more mature freshman anywhere in the country that wants to get better, who cares about his teammates, who cares about team success, who truly wants to make the right play every time. Guys talk all the time about being coachable, which for some being coachable is you've got to package it with a nice bow in a box so they can receive it the right way. Man, you can just go right at Tyrese Hunter, cut through all of it and just say, this is what you're going to do. That's it. Make it happen. And he looks at you with a sense of pride that he knows how to do it. So again, I'm fortunate our guys have embraced that work, but there was an intentionality to the work, the blue chip, like the blue collar mentality, and the guys who wanted to have more from this experience.
Did you put any expectations on this year, like NIT, NCAA tournament? Did you talk to him about something? I mean, or internally even?
We really didn't. And to be honest, if somebody were to say, are you shocked at the games you've won?
Yeah.
If you'd have asked me in June and you said, would you be sitting in this position? Yeah, I would have been shocked. Yeah. But as you see the guys work every day, day after day, Kelsher and Brockington, they don't have a bad day. There's not a low energy day. There's not a bad day. There's phenomenal days. There's days that are either a 9.5 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. And so what it does is it's like the iron sharpens iron. It raises the bar for everybody. So as we got into the games, you can never predict. I mean, when we came out for opening night, I had no idea what to expect from our group. You hope the habits are going to take over. But we played the first game. We committed, more fouls than I've ever been part of in a team in a game because we're excited. We turned the ball over a ridiculous amount of times. I don't even remember the numbers, but the effort and the enthusiasm was there. And I know that in that game, I said to myself, if our guys are going to bring it to this level every single day, it's going to show up on game night. Now we've got to get better in a few areas so we don't beat ourselves.